Hi everybody. Welcome to tonight's evening chill out yoga. We're just going to get started in a couple minutes. So, if you would like, if you have a cushion or a rolled up blanket, we're going to start lying down, but you can lie flat on your back. So feel free to lie down to get started. And if you're not comfortable lying down, you could sit up as well. So welcome, hello everybody. Just gonna wait a minute or two. So if you're just arriving, we're gonna start by lying down tonight. So you're more than welcome to start to get settled. That could be on your back. It could be lying down on a cushion, or a rolled up blanket. Hoping everybody's doing well. Some interesting news today about some changes perhaps to starting to have some things open, and I'm sure a lot of people have mixed feelings about all of this, and haven't even really started to process what that might look like for everybody. So okay. So it's just about 7. It's just about 7. So we're going to start by lying down, and feel free to lie flat on your back. I'm going to be lying down on my bolster tonight, but please feel free to lie on your back, or if you have a rolled up blanket, you could also lie on that. Take a moment to get settled, and you could have your knees bent or you could have your legs extended. Give yourself a few, maybe clearing breaths to settle in here. Give yourself an opportunity to lengthen your breath, deepen your breath. And if you're feeling particularly, maybe you have some extra energy tonight, or you have some nervous energy or some anxious energy, allow your exhale to start to soften and ground you, and just really bring yourself into your body. Each time you breathe in, feeling where your breath is moving into your body, and then exhale, softening and maybe letting go of some of that tension. So we're just going to spend maybe another minute or so here with our breath. Giving yourself a few more breaths here. If you're just joining us, we're going to start on our back tonight. And if you're lying on a cushion, a bolster, or a rolled up blanket, just take your time to move off to the side and move that cushion off to the other side and come to lie flat on your back. And you could start with both feet on the ground, or you could bring both knees up into your chest and take a couple deep breaths into your lower belly, into your lower back, and let your exhale relax your shoulders back down towards the floor. And again, if you have any extra energy, any anxious energy, any nervous energy, allow your exhale to release some of that. Or if you're feeling particularly, maybe you just have some extra nervous energy going on, or just some tiredness or anything you want to release and let go of. All right, and then bring your feet a little wider apart perhaps, and we'll begin to move slightly from side to side, releasing our knees. And you could make this movement a little bit quicker or a little slower than I'm moving, so just moving at your own pace that works for you here. And we'll take a few more breaths here. And when you come back to the center, extend your legs forward and give yourself a full body stretch, maybe reaching your arms overhead, stretching out from your fingers to your toes, and you can stay in the center or you can move a little bit here from side to side. And just allow some length and some space to come into your body. Maybe give yourself a clearing breath. And then bringing your hands beside you, and again bringing your feet down to the floor. So we'll start by bringing our left foot on top of our right leg, and you can move your left leg away from you here and pause. And you can stay here. You could also bring your right knee in towards your chest and interlace your hands behind your knee. Relax your shoulder blades back down towards the floor. Connect into your breath here. If you'd like to circle out your right ankle while you're here, you could also do that, just making some circles in one direction or the other, or just pause as you are. We'll take about 5 more breaths here. So again, working with your inhale and your exhale to release and let go. Maybe create a bit of space. Just as you're ready, begin to release, and you could find a release here, maybe releasing your knees side to side or extending your legs forward, just finding anything that feels good to release from that last movement, that last pose. And then we're going to come to the other side just whenever you're ready and taking your time. So again, you might pause here. With your right foot on top of your left leg, you might move your right leg forward slightly. You might want to hang out here, or you could interlace your hands behind you. Now, if you have yoga blocks or a cushion, you can usually place your foot on top of that cushion or block as well. And again, coming back to your breath, maybe notice your lower back, the connection of your lower back on the floor. Breathe into your lower belly, to your lower back. Take a couple more breaths here. Just as you're ready, when you're ready, you're going to release. And again, you could extend your legs forward, or you could release your knees from side to side, whatever you need right now. And then just taking your time again to come back with your feet down on the ground and your knees bent. And we're going to pause here for just a moment. Really connect your lower back towards the floor. Take a moment to feel that connection. Connect your feet towards the ground. We're going to move up into bridge pose. So you could bend your elbows, bring your palms facing one another. You could place your palms against the floor. So I'm going to give the option. You could lift your hips on your inhale and lower your hips down on your exhale. Okay. Or you could lift your hips on your inhale and pause and hold. Here, some of you might be able to interlace your hands underneath you and walk your arms closer towards one another. So you could take that option as well. So it's your choice. You can move through bridge, or you could pause and hold bridge pose here. And we're going to hold or move for about 5 more breaths. So if any time you need to come out, just come out a little bit sooner. your time. Coming back to the floor whenever you're ready, and maybe knees up in towards your chest, or extend your legs forward. Find a little bit of movement here. Maybe make some circular movement, few times in one direction, a few times in the opposite direction. And coming back to the center, bringing the bottoms of your feet together to touch for bound angle posture. If you'd like a little bit of a heart opener and you have the space, you could take your arms wider or out to a T. And if at any point this puts too much pressure on your hips or your lower back, please come on out, bring your feet to the ground with your knees bent. And wherever it is you are, maybe breathe. Take a few deep breaths up into your heart space, and then a couple exhales out through your mouth. Allow yourself to let go. Surrender a little bit. Just a few more breaths here. Taking your time, coming back to the center, and again, maybe windshield wipering your knees from side to side or shaking out your legs. And we will come around to our seat in a moment, just taking your time to come on up. Maybe move around onto tabletop. Hello, everybody who's joining us, who's joined us. So coming to tabletop and taking a moment to set your hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips, and begin to move a little bit here with your breath. Your inhale may lift your heart. Your exhale could round your spine, chin towards your chest. Moving at your own pace, with your own breath. So you might be moving a bit slower or a bit more quickly than I am. I would also suggest you could put a blanket underneath your knees, a folded up blanket maybe, a little bit more support. If you'd like to add in some side movement, you could move from side to side. You could also add some circles or some figure 8 movement. Going to spend maybe 5 more breaths. If you want to explore any other movement, feel free to do that here. And just in the next few breaths, making your way into child's pose. So finding your way into child's pose, again, you could place a folded up blanket underneath your knees. You could support your head with your hands. You could extend your arms forward here. And again, you could give yourself some clearing breaths here if you like. And really settling your energy towards the floor. So feeling that grounding energy as you move closer to the floor, just allowing yourself to feel more connected and more grounded in your body and also towards the ground. You can stay in the center here, or you could walk your arms over to one side, finding a side body stretch here. Settling in for a few breaths, feeling your breath move into your lower back, into your lower belly. Let your shoulder blades soften. Let your heart melt towards the floor maybe. And when you're ready, coming back through center and over to the other side. And when you're ready, coming back through the center, making your way up to tabletop here. And I'm going to come into heart melt or puppy pose. Bye, Bo. My cat is wandering away. I came to my yoga mat earlier and he smothered me with love, and so now he's leaving, so he won't be bugging us. So you could bring your hands forward, melt your heart. If your forehead doesn't reach the ground, maybe support it with a block or a blanket or something. If you have yoga blocks, you could also take your arms, your forearms, your hands to the blocks for a little bit more height. It's just depending on if you have those or not. And then breathe in to the back of your body and exhale. Allow the front of your body to soften and open and melt. A few more breaths here. Take your time to come up. And so coming into one more option here, either from tabletop or you could sit back into child's pose for this. We'll take our right arm out and weave our right arm through to the left and come down onto our right side. You could support yourself by taking your left arm forward, or your left arm can rest on your lower back, as long as that doesn't create too much pressure for your shoulder. And connecting back into your breath here. Oh, here he comes. Hi. Hi, Bocat. Hi, buddy. And as you're ready, we're going to lift up and we'll come into the other side. So either again from tabletop or child's pose, this time your left arm moving through to the right. Connecting to your breath here. When you're ready, we're going to rise and come back up. If you'd like to take a moment here to move arching and rounding cat and cow a couple times, go ahead and do that. We're going to come up into a standing forward fold, so just taking your time to roll maybe onto your feet here. You could place your elbows above your knees, bend your knees a bit more deeply, or you could let your arms hang or grab opposite elbows. Wherever it is that you are, sorry, I'm just going to stand up for a moment and readjust. Wherever it is that you are, allow your upper body to hang and let go a little bit more here. You can make a bit of movement if you like, swaying from one foot to the other, or let your upper body sway a bit. Just a couple more breaths here. And then you can take some time maybe to ragdoll up to stand if you like, or you could take one inhale to rise and come all the way up. rocking your shoulders back and down, and then if you're at the back of your mat like I was, you could step forward to the front of your mat, maybe here. Maybe take a moment here in mountain pose. You could place one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. Take a couple breaths in and out with your eyes open or your eyes closed, and feel the connection of both feet to the ground. So really feel this rooting, this connection, this grounding through your legs and your feet. Let your upper body feel a bit more free and spacious. Hi, coming back to say hi? Yeah, okay, buddy. All right, let's take a breath in. Let's reach our arms up overhead. And then exhale, hands to heart center. And then this time, inhale, reach your arms up overhead. We're going to forward fold as we exhale. So we're just going to take a little bit of time here in our forward fold again. So some of you might know a toe lock, or you might be able to slide your hands underneath your feet. And if not, you're just going to maybe hang out here, okay? So bend your knees as much as you need to let your upper body settle. So you might have your knees quite deeply bent here. And if you have yoga blocks, you can use them for our next couple movements. But if you don't worry about it. You'll bring your hands down towards the floor. It just means you'll need to bend your knees a bit more perhaps. Let's step our left foot back and plant our left heel. Walk your hands back so your hands are underneath your shoulders. And long enough stride that you can start to feel some stretch through the back of your leg, but your back heel's planted, hips are facing forward, and your blocks have a few heights. If you want to lift up a bit higher, you can. And if not, we're going to fold in here, just allow your upper body to settle forward and down. Keep cleared out a bit with your breath, or you could just breathe here normally, naturally. Couple more breaths. And just in the next breath or two, begin to walk your back foot forward, step forward into your forward fold, fold in. You can have your hands on your blocks or release them completely. Take a couple breaths here. You can take a couple clearing breaths if you like as well. When you're ready, we're going to step our right foot back. If you have blocks, again, you can hold onto blocks so your hands will reach the floor. Some of you that can't even reach the floor, you could bend your knee a lot more and place your hands above your knee. And again, this side, it's just this side might feel different. So just check in where you would like to be here. You could be lifted, you could be folded in. Your blocks could be up a bit higher, or you could just adjust in any way that you need to. Connecting into your breath. Take a few more breaths here. As you're ready, we're going to step forward again. So coming back into our standing forward fold here. Any forward fold that you like. Now you can choose to stay in your forward fold, or you can walk your feet a little bit wider, turn your toes out, come to sit down into squat pose, or stay in your forward fold. We'll spend about 5 breaths here. If you're in the squat, come back into a forward fold for a moment. We're going to step our left foot back, this time for a lunge, so back knee comes to the floor. And you could keep your hands on your blocks here. You may want to take a twist. So I'm going to take a little twist over towards my right leg. I'm going to bring my right foot a little wider first. create a bit of space. My left hand, I'm just gonna place it on my block anyways. I'm gonna turn towards the right, shoulders back. And you could also bring your hand to your hip here or extend your arm up. Wherever it is that you are, maybe try to loop that bottom shoulder on your back a bit more. And then take a few deep breaths into your heart space here. And as you're ready, bring both hands back down and straighten out your front leg. So if you move your foot to the side a bit, bring your foot back towards the center. And if you can, lift the bottom of your front foot. And we're going to get into the back of our leg here a little bit more. If you have space, you can move your back knee further back, just so it's a little further back behind your hip. We're going to breathe here. If you have blocks, you can have your hands up on blocks. Remember, you can come out of the poses anytime. You don't want to feel any pain in yoga. If something's not working for you, please just adjust or come out altogether. And just taking your time, we're going to come back to tabletop. You could hang out in child's pose for a few breaths. You could move through cat and cow and tabletop for a few breaths, your choice. Just when you're ready, coming back, tabletop. I'm going to step my left foot forward. I'm going to give it a little help forward here first and move my back knee back. So actually my left foot's a little wider. I'm going to place my right hand on my block. I'm going to turn here towards the left. Front knee's over my ankle, shoulders back, especially that bottom back shoulder. You could be here. You could bring your hand to your hip or extend your arm up. And wherever it is that you are, coming back to your breath. Coming back to some breathing. Lots of breath here. And when you're ready, bringing both hands back down. Move your hips back and walk your foot in towards the center here. And you may want to move your back knee further back as you begin to lift the bottom of your foot. You can bring your hands back underneath your shoulders. And we're going to connect into our breath here. So this side might feel different. If your legs are really tight, you're going to have a bit of a bend, a bit more of a bend to your knee, and you might still feel that here. So it may not come straight. You should never collapse your knee down like this. Don't do that. Blah. Not good. No hyperextending. If you can, protect your knee joint, flex your toes back towards your shin. Stay here, you could fold in a little bit. Remember to come out of the poses anytime you need to, if it's not working for you here. Try to soften in, relax your shoulders, come back to your breathing. Just whenever you're ready, the next couple breaths, making your way back to tabletop here. And you could create some movement here, or you could move back into child's pose for a few breaths. And just taking a few breaths here to pause. So we're going to take a wide-legged forward fold. And in order to get there, I'm going to start with my right foot forward. And I'm going to lift my back knee and turn my back heel down, and then I'm going to walk my hands around and turn both feet to the long edge of the mat. So if that didn't work for you, just find your way in any way that makes sense into a wide-legged forward fold, where you could either pop your hands onto the floor, or you could fold yourself in here and connect into your breath. Connect into your breath. Now, I've been exploring a little bit of movement in this form lately, moving to one side and bending that knee, and moving to the other side. Also lifting a heel or lifting both heels, and really getting into my ankles. My ankles have been really tight since I started running and doing a little bit more physical activity in a more jarring way. I'm just feeling it in my joints a little bit more. So a little bit of movement maybe, or you could pause and hang out in the center here. Or you could even interlace your hands behind you and create a shoulder opener here for yourself as well. Time when you're ready to lift up, maybe part way. We're going to come into a lunge. So I'm going to walk my hands around to my right foot, turn my right foot forward, lift my back heel, bring my back knee down. So I'm back in a lunge, and I'm going to come into lizard pose. I'm going to bring my right foot wider, turn my toes out. Just check that your front knee's over your ankle here again. And my hands come on the inside of my front foot. You could stack blocks, and if you have them, some of you do, I know this. If you don't have blocks and you'd like some blocks, I can definitely hook you up with either buying some or on a loan basis, so let me know. Yeah, we've got some connections. So I have some used blocks still for sale, and I also have some people that are loaning out some blocks. So please let me know if you'd like some for your practice, and can sort that out for you. So we're going to hang out in lizard, and that might mean not lowering down. It might mean staying up on your hands, or sometimes for me it means lifting up a bit higher onto blocks and settling in this way. If you have room, move your back leg back, so that you really start to get that opening in the front of your back hip as well. And if your front knee's opening up to the side, you may be feeling it there. Now this is a tough pose to hang out in for a long time. So as long as you're not in pain, you might be in some discomfort. Sometimes in order to grow, we need to move through this period of discomfort. This is why hip openers are a good analogy for growth and change, because it doesn't feel comfortable. As long as you're not in sharpshooting pain, you can use your breath to work through it. Let it go, some of that tension, some of that stuff. But if you're in pain, you gotta come out. Okay, so we don't want to injure our bodies. But if you're in discomfort, breathe through it. We'll spend maybe 4 or 5 more breaths here. Okay, guess what? We're coming out. Oh my. Okay. Oh boy. Any kind of movement you need to release. You can make some movement, or you could come back into child's pose. Spend about 4 or 5 breaths here. allowing yourself to soften. Should also mention, if you want to be part of my newsletter, you can go to my website and sign up. I've just started to load up some new things coming up. I'm going to be sending out a newsletter in the next couple days, so if that's something of interest to you, please sign up through my website. It's at the bottom of the home page. If you don't know my website, you're on Facebook, just check in my profile or the page. It has a connection there, I think. It's symmetryyoga.ca anyways. So we'll come to the other side. I'm really hopeful that paddleboard season will be starting up in June. I'm really hopeful, really, really hopeful. I'm just going to throw that out there. If you have a paddleboard, I'm not sure how it'll look this year in terms of lessons and everything, but anyways, just giving away some little hints here. I'm hoping. So we're going to come to the other side, which may feel different than that last side. You may have a different placement for your hands, your arms. Again, if you're feeling pain, come on out. If it's a discomfort, use some clearing breaths. Really focus on your breath. Notice what how you can release with your breath, or create a bit of space. Release some of that discomfort, those feelings that arise from being in this hip opener. You're still with me. We're staying here for about 4 or 5 more breaths, but again, if you need to come out sooner. Okay, everybody, when you're ready, oh boy, make your way out of that side. Hopefully you can. You can make some movement here. You can pause back in child's pose, take a few breaths wherever it is that you are, just to settle, and just to be in with your breath here. So, when you're ready, come up to your seat. If you have a folded up blanket or a yoga block, you could come sit up on. That would be amazing. Or a cushion, anything that's going to support your hips to lift up a little bit higher. We're going to start with our legs extended. You could come into a forward fold with your feet a little bit closer together if you like. I'm going to come into a wide-legged forward fold tonight, so either option, so either with your legs wider or your feet together, feet closer. And in either one, you know, if you're feeling rounded through your spine, you could place your fingertips beside you to lengthen up a little bit and pause here, or root into your fingertips to lean in. Now, if you're leaning forward quite a bit, you could start to come forward. If your feet are closer together, your hands can be beside you. You could hold on to your shins or your ankles. So whatever you like here, but we were going to start to fold in, move in towards the floor a bit more here. And of course, if you're folding in as much as I am, you could bring your forehead towards your shins or towards the block or the floor if you're in a wide-legged fold here. Just notice your breath maybe moving into the back of your body. Feel like an expansion on your inhale. And then exhale to slowly soften in. Just a few more breaths here. Wherever it is that you are, slowly rise. Bring yourself back up towards center, and if your legs are wide, you could bring them in. You could release your feet side to side, or you could bring your feet to the floor, windshield wiper a few times side to side as well, your choice. Now we're going to take a couple more forward folds. This one, Janu Shirshasana, and bringing your right foot wider. You can bend your left knee, or you can have your left leg extended. We're going to lengthen up. So the wider your leg is to the side, the more of a twist. We're going to turn our bodies towards our extended leg. You could hang out here, you could lean in, or we're going to reach up and turn towards our leg and fold in. I'm going to hold my ankle or shin to draw in, shoulders back, and connect into my breathing here. The more of a twist, you might feel it in your lower back a little bit more as well than the last couple, for the last forward fold. Just a couple more breaths here. When you're ready, let's rise and we'll switch sides. And again, finding a bit of length first. Some of you may stay here, holding a bit more upright, or you can extend your arms up, hinge forward and down, and connect into your breath here. A couple more breaths here. And when you're ready, let's rise, come back up. And before we come down onto our backs again, I'd like to do a bit of a heart opener. So I'm going to give a couple of options. So first option, feet on the ground, hands behind you, and shoulders back, heart lifts. Okay. Second option is to press into your feet, lift your hips up, and maybe feel some of the weight in your feet as well as your hands here. And you could either look up, look back, or look forward. When we're ready, whenever you're ready, coming back down, and we're going to recline back onto our back. So once you come down onto your back, I'm just going to adjust a couple things here. Come down onto your back, hug your knees up into your chest. You can rock a little bit from side to side. And we're going to take happy baby pose here. So you can grab your shins, your feet, you can grab behind your knees here for happy baby pose. Connecting to your breath. begin to release. Now, I should have mentioned that we're going to come back to figure 4 pose. We started here, here, and here. But if you would prefer to take pigeon pose, some of you may want to come back up and take pigeon. So I should have offered that actually before we came back onto our back, so I apologize. If you'd like to come into pigeon, you'll just have to make your way back up and making sure there's no pressure in your knee joint. If there is, then being on your back for figure 4 is a better option. You don't want to have that load or that pressure on your knee. For those of you in figure 4, it may feel different this time, the second time around, or it may not. But you could find maybe a different variation, slight variation, a little bit bringing your knee in a bit closer, perhaps removing your bent leg a little further away from you. So up to you. Back to your breath here. We'll spend just about 3 or 4 more breaths wherever it is that you are. Just noticing your inhale and your exhale. Taking your time. So wherever it is that you are, you can find a release in between sides if you like, a little bit of movement, whatever you need before coming to the other side. And just whenever you're ready, taking your time, of course, coming to the other side just after you found your release there. Wherever it is that you are, taking a few more breaths. And again, just taking your time to come out, finding some release, some movement. If you did come into pigeon pose, give yourself maybe about 4 or 5 breaths wherever it is you are to release, and then come to lie down again. For those of you that have a yoga block, we'll use it for the next posture. If you don't, and you have a rolled up blanket or a folded up blanket, you could use that instead, okay? And if you don't have either of those, you could still come into this. It just might feel slightly different. So we're going to place the block on the lowest height underneath our sacrum, just that triangular bone just above your tailbone, and then lift your legs up towards the ceiling, and you're going to try to take some of the effort out of your legs. You could draw your shoulder blades underneath you, and if you want to point and flex your toes a bit or circle your ankles a few times here, you can as well. If you'd like to get a bit more of a heart opener as well, you could open your arms wide or take your arms more overhead, as long as your arms and shoulders are resting on the floor. And connecting into your breath here. You're welcome to stay here for another, 5 or 6 breaths. If you'd like to bring your feet down and keep the block or the blanket there, extend your legs forward. Now this could create a pinching into your lower back, and if it does come out, maybe bring your feet to the ground or lift your legs back up. But if not, it's a nice opening for the front of your hips, front of your body. Take a few more breaths here. And just wherever it is that you are taking your time to bring your feet down, release the block or blanket from underneath you, and perhaps bring your knees back into your chest and rock a little bit here. Make a bit of movement, some circles. Now, we are going to come into a twist, any twist that makes sense for you, but we'll move our knees up and over to the right side and trying to settle the rest of your body towards the floor here. And connect into your breath. Let your exhales continue to soften you. Hi, buddy. Okay. And just taking your time when you're ready, coming back through the center and coming on to the other side. Coming over to the other side. Taking your time to settle in here. Coming back to your breath. Just as you're ready, let's come back to the center again. And you may want to bring your knees up into your chest. You could windshield wiper your legs a few times from side to side. You could take happy baby again or bound angle posture. We are going to get ready for Shavasana. So for those of you that have a sweater or a blanket or some socks, please go ahead and get yourself nice and warm. And I always like to let people know, if you're not comfortable to lie flat on your back for a long period of time, you could lie on your side, you could come to child's pose, or you could sit up. But if you are comfortable on your back, give yourself a moment to extend your arms and your legs. We're going to come into Shavasana for about 5 minutes. So this will be an opportunity for you to allow your body to integrate the movement and the breath we've just gone through, and it's an opportunity to just be, to find this moment of stillness here. If you need to move a bit, take a couple clearing breaths before settling in. Give yourself permission to let go with a couple clearing breaths, and then give yourself permission to just be here. Begin to slowly deepen your breath. Give yourself a little bit of movement, maybe a big body stretch, or bring your knees up into your chest. And just take your time making your way over to your side for a moment. You can take a couple deep breaths here. Just when you're ready, making your way up to your seat. Take a moment perhaps to bring your hands over your heart, or hands on your belly, hand on your heart. Take a couple deep breaths of gratitude for taking the time to be here tonight, or whenever it is that you're practicing. Some of you, this will be a recording for you. Really thank yourself for taking the time to take care of yourself, to move your body, to breathe your breath, and to feel all of that. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight, and I wish you a peaceful evening. Thank you, everyone. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks everyone. I will be back in the morning. I'll be here in the morning at 9. What else? Tell your friends, share the posts. I have added everything as an event, so you can invite people to the event if you like, for each class. And yeah, if you do have the means to support at this time, you can check out the PayPal link or my email link for an email transfer. Would be appreciated. And of course, if you don't have the means, these classes are available for you to practice anytime. So thanks again so much, and have a wonderful evening. Bye everybody.